So I'm gonna start it now, holding the cans. Rich would explain it better, but it's basically just connecting to my energy. When it goes to the right side, over here where my mouse is, it's looking at the truth and the things I can confront. When it goes to the left side, I'm still looking for what it is. So it's just gonna look at your ability to be able to confront as much as possible. And then, what we're gonna see, we'll see. So I'm starting right now. I'm gonna read through the email and we're gonna go from there. Where the fuck is my mouse? There it is. Alright, okay, so this person wants to find out his soul origins or ancestry in regards to the star family, and was wondering if there are any methods I use. And so, in regards of the information pertaining to the quick scan, he's a 37 Taurus, lives in Halifax, NS. The only child. He doesn't feel that he's human. He's very talented in arts, music, painting, creating all sorts of things. But he seems to suffer from an overactive libido, and was wondering if that is an attachment or is it related to the programming. Not sure what else is needed. I guess I'm looking for someone with your abilities to be able to see what I am, soul origin wise, and to maybe assess my feel and see what kind of attributes may be keeping me down, locked up. I know I am a creator being outside all of the noise, but on a soul level, it would be nice to know what I was before coming here, or if I was just human. Either way, it's not determined, but for me, it's a question I've had all my life, and hopefully able to find some sort of answer. You've helped a friend of mine discover that he was a Lyran, and I helped a lot for him, and it helped a lot for him to assess his life and what things mean to him. So I guess I was hoping to figure out externally if possible. Right, so, first things, Christopher. Right now, I'm just connecting to your beingness and who you are. Sort of my consciousness drifts to you. When I'm looking at people, sometimes I see them just as, let's say, energy figures. So let's say think of an outline of a human body, and then I'm connecting to your essence, to your presence of, your consciousness, and then I can access your Akashic records, see what you have experienced in the past, and just see all about you. So, alright, what about you? So first thing that pops out is that you've been somewhat involved in a soul trap. It's like where, like one part of you, or before coming here on Earth, somewhat close to forced incarnation, but like not specifically just dropped here. When I'm doing these scans, I'm getting like a lot of images. So for me to put it in the words and explain it to you all so that you will understand, I take time and I write things down, and like quick scans are very easy. But in a way like of explaining what I'm seeing, it's like, oh well, there's just tons of images going to right like this. So I'm gonna take my time looking into, let's say, general concepts, and then just looking at the whole story throughout and all this stuff. I'm getting like a lot of reads on the Pleiadian, like before coming here on Earth, being a Pleiadian, connecting to them. There's some healing work, but more like through being an engineer. And let's say creating technology that would store people's energy. So let's say energy, thoughts, beingness. You can literally, same way people program crystals, is you would create technology. And again, like they're very much like pillars of light. If anyone of you here on Earth seen pictures of, let's say, a city, and then there's this pillar of light, it's something close to that concept, but this would be sort of like, I don't know, more on a physical level. Let's say you can actually touch it, like it's a physical pillar, not just the energy, not just the light. It's more of a physical thing. Has somewhat of a crystal shape, but it's using our kind of minerals, so not specifically just a crystal. But over there, it's kind of like you touch it, and the same way we program water, like let's say you talked and like the vibration, the frequency just goes in, so you connect to it, and that positivity you have, just like think of that high frequency, like love and creation and like feeling good and healing, and you can literally, again, like as with manifestation, create a whole story of this pillar will work for like helping with your spine, or let's say helping with your possible cancer or various diseases, it would be specifically for one thing. For example, like breast cancer or prostate cancer, or for example, like having a flu, having a cold, and there's like a variety. But these pillars, like it's kind of like being in a library and walking through it, and you touch this thing and you connect to the beingness, and literally any person can write the program. It's like I remember in the Andromeda, there's this crystal place I found where you just pick up the crystal and you put your program. You can like put like, oh, getting out of body, or like whatever else. And so like it's very similar, but it's more like pillars. And with the Pleiadians, it's kind of like, I don't know, like being on this tower. It's like, okay, so how to explain it? There's this pillar, but like similar to concrete, well, or like some sort of like a physical material that goes up, and there's this, let's say, more like a discus. So let's say think of like just a tower figure with more of a disc, and inside there's like a room that's more like never ending, but it goes and like in various, like it's another realm out there, and that's where the pillars are created. It's like inside pocket, or let's say their own library, place of programming, place of healing, doing the energy work for others, where anyone that has a program of how they're going to help someone is going to come in, and they're going to touch this pillar and program, like let's say, okay, connecting to your body, seeing all your cells, seeing this and seeing that, and like you will see everything throughout. You have the perfect visuals, and then you write the program. Okay, so starting with cleaning the energy, just like scanning your body, cleaning any negatives, cleaning, like let's say there's density, meridians being closed, your chakras being closed, and just like cleans everything. Like let's say there's this program that sort of like, as water goes and connects with everything, you just kind of like connect with every single energy channel in your body, for example, and you just drop a lot of energy and just clean it. So you open up, like the meridians and everything else, and then literally step after step, whatever you program, you write you write what you want in there. And so like people would be using it for healing and helping out others, specifically with physical bodies or planets. For example, if the planet is being attacked or has gone under the, let's say, asteroid crash, or like comets, or like being taken over and everything else, then you go into that place and like, okay, so baddies, specifically reptilians, came onto the planet, harvested everything they can, and now it's a desert, or like it's post-apocalyptic kind of world, and they left because there's nothing in there anymore. And this planet is just like hurt. But the planet is actually a live being that has been harvested as can be. So you look at that planet and you create this, like take this pillar and specifically, okay, this planet or any planet that's gone under these circumstances, and you write a program of, okay, boom, atmosphere changes, like there's a lot of like greenery coming back, a lot of like, let's say, waters and energy and everything else, and that switches, and you just like see like anything that you want in there, and that was your job. So you, the guy that's getting a scan, you're basically were one of the engineers that created the whole program of like that, let's say, pocket, or I don't know, like private reality, where you can like create the like choose the pillar and use your program of what kind of work you want to be done, and that was it. But for that, you got a lot of backlash, but not specifically from Pleiadians. It's Galactic Federation of Light. That was like they've got what you're doing, and they didn't like it at all. It's like, hey, this guy is changing too much. So it's kind of like going through their court system and laws and like making sure like, oh, this lack asshole is doing too much, so we have to make it illegal to use. It's not right. People should use their own imagination, and people should use their own creativity, and you can get help from abroad, specifically like, let's say, if you're gonna help Earth. Oh, what you're doing over there as a Pleiadian is illegal, and you cannot help others because it breaks all the cosmic universal laws of people being able to ascend by themselves, so you need to do it yourself, and you cannot help anyone else. So like there's a lot of like Galactic Federation of Light bullshit where they're gonna make sure people on the planet don't get the help they need, and that was what got you somewhat what how to say it. It's like being the creator of Nobel Prize, like, hey, dynamite, and then it's a weapon of mass destruction. Shit. So it's kind of like getting the same kind of view on this is such a great thing, like as a Pleiadian see it, as those that do the healing work, as those that do the, like helping to others, but from the Galactic Federation of Light, and then spreading the news of, you're the terrorist, you're the bad guy, you're just trying to find a workaround for others, and no, you shouldn't do that ever. So, they spread this kind of like, how to say it, propaganda, and making sure that beings in the multiverse see you as a baddie. Like, you fucked it up. You just tried to cheat, and you shouldn't do that. You know, if a person is supposed to finish the school, you don't just write them the fake diploma if they finish the school. You can't do that. And so this is pretty much like a metaphor. I'm bad at that, but pretty much like of how they fucked you over, and by that they had their own troops coming over. It's kind of like even being the Pleiadian and having the handcuffs on you and being like leaded to like, okay, let's go to our own room. We're gonna get you into the, you know, like galactic prison and make sure you get the punishment you should, like, you know, like you've gone through. So yeah, there's like a lot of that going on in the background. Specifically, looking at the soul trap and what happened to you. A lot of past life rewriting. Like, they want to make sure that the image you get of yourself is like limiting. So, for example, you know, you were this greater being, you've done something grand, you're there to help others, and they're like, no, you shouldn't view yourself as a godlike being who's there to help. You shouldn't know that you're like a healer and engineer and everything else. Oh, you're actually like you're a bad person. And they're gonna put a lot of fake lives, and fake life, I don't know, like the best explanation I can give right now would be, think of watching a movie. Like, one blink is a lifetime, and literally you live at least 100 years, and in that 100 years you're gonna live like as if it's really happening to you, as if it's like the thing, as if you're there. So same way you put VR glasses and you're in another reality, but you can experience everything you see, touch, smell, and everything else is your reality, is your, like, it's true, it's there. And there's like a lot of torture with, oh well, you're a bad like person. There's like being a criminal, you know, like stealing things, like being a thief, and then getting a lot of backlash from like society again, like, oh, you're a bad person, you've done too much. It's the same way people are hating Bill Gates, so to speak. So the same way they're pushing that fake, it's like, you're the bad person, you've done something really bad and you shouldn't even dare to express yourself. So there's like a lot of like programming coming in the past lives that create this limit of, let's say you hit this part of where you want to express yourself, where you want to do something grand, and there's going to be distractions in life as a rule, like something's always going to happen to make you go sideways, or something's always coming in the way where you can't do it, the creator's block, for example, other things, there's that. Also going with, like, again, creating this image of a bad person. So, you know, being a rapist, being a pedophile is a lot there. And again, your physical body might pick it up, as in like relating, this is who I was in the past, and this is how I'm gonna act in current, and this might like affect your physical body in that way. Like, what else am I seeing? I don't like, there's so much I see, and it takes a lot of time to put it in words and try to make sense to you all. But yeah, let's see, what else? Seems that like how to say it. So timelines, beings that work on like affecting timelines and changing how things are, the reality, the events, and everything else. There's a lot of that, but specifically those that guard the timeline changes so that one, like the good side or the bad side, couldn't use it too much on their benefits and would sort of remain in the status quo. Using that, bad guys have insiders or someone, let's say, either buying out the being or they have someone of their own in there. And it's kind of like having this bad cop that, you know, shouldn't have been there that night, but it was there and now you're caught, so to speak. But it's not like you're doing anything bad. But if you would like try to change anything for yourself, there's like a lot of like being watched and make sure you can't make too much progress in life. So with that, they're pretty much going into, hey, you know, like every time you try to do something more in life, there's gonna be a limit. There's gonna be, make sure like you can't achieve too much. There's a limit on how much you can be. So even that, like, you know, using your physical body as much as possible is not allowed. You're using your own creativity, your imagination, your knowledge is not allowed to fully access that. And at the same time, just like if you try to do things for yourself to get better, it's like either being blocked or, I'm like, how should I explain it? you try to work on yourself and you don't see results. Like, no matter what you do, or most of the things you do for yourself, there's not too many wins in life. And that's because, like, this group is making sure that even if you have good guys or people from your past lives, the Pleiadians, your soul family, like trying to be there to help you out, there's a blockage. It's like there's a rule. It reverses the work you're doing. It's pretty much like making sure you can't get anywhere in life. So this would be just like a quickie. I probably could go even longer, but I think for now this might make some sense, hopefully. But yeah, that'd be pretty much the session. That'd be like, let's say, an example of how it works, and hopefully some of you can sort of like I don't know, make some sense out of what I've said. There's a lot of that going on, but that's how I do it. So yeah. So these things is going on, like just like it's interesting to see that I don't know, like crystal plates I've seen before where we can program things or deprogram things, because there's like a lot of third parties using it against us, and now there's more like a pillar used to help us out. That's pretty amazing, and it makes sense that, like, hey, third parties making sure we can't get it all. Galactic Federation of Light, of course, us always suppressing things, putting it against us. But again, like, the game is rigged. The game is rigged, and it's always going against us. So, as regards the session, as regards into looking, like, okay, everything you've been through, all the crap that has happened. I'm still, like, trying to, right now, more, like, plug out of your life and making sure, like, okay, like, everything that has happened, everything that I've seen, I have to come back here, come back to who I am, come back to my consciousness fully, and then how can I help you, like, with all the stuff that you've been through, how can I help you? So let's see. First things first, if I was you, what I would do is communicate to the beings. For example, start with directing your consciousness as if you had this microphone, as if you've had the radio channel that would reach everyone else in the multiverse. And what you do is like, please listen. I am this person, and you might know me as a being who created the pillars that can be programmed to help others. I was the one that connected to Earth and other realities and tried to change it. And from Federation, like of the Galactic Federation of Light, you have heard that I've been trying to find a quicker way for people to, let's say, cheat and get something faster than they should. They didn't get their, let's say, lessons. And from my perspective, everything they said is a crap, because what I've been trying to do is, like fix the suppression. There's a lot of planets that have been attacked, and no one is fighting this, let's say, domination and chaos. And here I was using Pleiadians as a group who were actually trying to do something good. And, like then something like anyone that has gotten any help from me, like please vouch for me. Please tell me that everything you've experienced was actually help, because like I was there for you. So like literally you would have to communicate your message. You would have to tell beings what's going on from your perspective. A technique like how Ho'oponopono would work with like everyone. Please, like I'm sorry for trying to cheat, or like like I wouldn't even put it that way. The better way to say it, I'm sorry for trying to help beings. I'm sorry for trying to be there and working for the good side, and forgive me that most of you cannot understand like the help. Most of you cannot perceive being free and independent. I'm sorry that most of you are buying into the Galactic Federation of Light bullshit, and please forgive me for being smart and good, and like, hey, thank you for listening to me, thank you for actually letting me see that I am above you, that I'm not following rules, that I'm not obeying, and hey, I love you all. The Ho'oponopono technique can go in like lots of ways. Please forgive me, I'm sorry, thank you, I love you. 4 commands you need to say, but you can put in your own text. And in this all, my point of view would be, everyone that's listening to the Galactic Federation of Light is everyone that's pretty much taking a jab. And they're buying into the story without knowing the full picture. And literally, you could, let's say, understanding what happened, try to show them the image, the the understanding of, look, this planet was fucked up, and as a group, as Pleiadians, we actually helped them out. These people were sick, and we gave them a way out. And you were one of them using this kind of help. On Earth, people are being messed with, and we created a way to give them knowledge and information so that they would wake up, so that they would take responsibility, so that they would get out of there, and no one else should suffer. And the thing is, the Galactic Federation of Light will pitch their message, and it's just like trying to be this powerful, dominant beingness, a group, corporation, and just pitch the reality so that everyone else would buy it. If you're not going with them, then you're pretty much the enemy and they're gonna fuck you up. And if you go communicating and showing them what happened, a lot of beings will actually understand that. And the point of view of you, who you are as a being, and that whole cheating thing wasn't actually a thing. And it's kind of like, first they see you as a villain, first they see you as doing something really bad, and you end up being a hero because eventually they're like, oh, this was the person that actually switched everything. And you give the power to other beings to actually, hey, I was buying into that shit and I shouldn't. I actually should support beings that want to be free, that want to be independent, that want to be responsible. I should join the good side. And it's no longer following the Galactic Federation of Light. I am joining into, my goal. So literally, a lot of ways to deal with this, but communicating with beings out there is important because a lot of them might view you as the enemy. And if you tell them who you are, if they get your perspective, a lot of them will listen. Then they're like, oh shit, we can actually join the fight. And there's going to be more things going on out there, and you switch your image. So there's that. As part of your programming, fake past lives and everything else, anything that's getting in your way, I would go with realizing that some of it wasn't true. As in, look at the things that are suppressing you and getting in the way most, and that is no longer you. Whatever happened there, true or not, it doesn't matter anymore, and you start creating like your beingness, as in like focusing, okay, every day, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I can do everything I want, I'm very creative, I can use my arts and I'm winning with it, people love my work, and you just focus on your beingness. But again, if you focus on the false and negativities, you're gonna shift into reality where things are not that good. But again, if you focus on, hey, I'm winning, things are good, then you're focusing on the other thing and you're gonna like shift into various realities, but working more on shifting on the positive would be better. And so much more we could go on, like really deep, but this is a quickie. I hope it sort of gives you some value and some information. So that's the work I do. That's there's so much to learn. Like, every one of you can do this thing, and I would start with learning to use your visuals. If some of you have visuals, at least about 4 or 5, where you can sort of think of something and imagine it, have it in front of you, for example, or like eyes closed and you see the picture, and if you can maintain it for a few seconds, you can do this kind of thing. If you don't have visuals, your thinking will work. You have this knowledge where sometimes you just know things. You don't necessarily need to read about it, or you've heard it the first time and you know it is true, or you know it is not true. You can do it all. So based on that, I would like, okay, so let's say I have visuals and I'm focusing on what I want, and maybe like, okay, anything positive or negative. Positive, I want to get better in life. I want to connect to my past lives or beingness I've had that was really creative. For example, that musician, the artsy person, that the part of me that actually was really into art and so good at it. And you just have this like image, okay, so that creator in me that was here before coming on Earth, that really creative being, that was, the drawing, the painting, and literally I would just view myself as, you have this brush, and in this massive weight of nothingness, you move your brush with colors, and it's like you're painting planets or realms into it. And just with one sweep, you can literally create hundreds of realms and planets. And, it can be fully designed and detailed. You don't have to, point every single, little dot in there, but it's just going to be all over the place. And it's going to be, vast. And that alone, and that, just one brush, and there's so much creation into that, so much life, power, you just focus on that beingness and you see who you were. Or let's say, okay, you don't have visuals and you just focus on your strong side. For example, I'm really good at fixing cars. I'm so good at fixing cars. I love fixing cars. That's my only best thing, and I love it. and who I was. Like, last time before Earth, where was I fixing something like cars? And literally, you just get this information, this kind of thought, this kind of knowledge of, hey, you were actually engineer or architect, and you were into construction, and you were, creating spaceships, and you're not seeing anything probably, but you just get this thought, I was creating spaceships. You've had this question, you have this focus, and there's a little answer out there. I was creating spaceships. And you just go with that, like, awesome, I was creating spaceships. Okay, what kind of spaceships I was creating? And like, like fighters, like the ones, like small ones, and they're into fighting. And you just get, like, literally, you ask yourself the question, and you get the answer. And don't question yourself. Let's say the first answer you get, go with that, because the more you focus and the more you question it, as in, like, is it true? Is it really the thing? Then you're just taking away your creator powers. You're taking away your ability to remember past lives. As a consciousness, you can access absolutely everything. You don't need a permission. You don't need super duper skills. You have a focus. Okay. You choose, like, being loving. I love everything. I love dogs. I love animals. And who was I before coming to Earth that was, like, that had this super loving beingness? And you allow yourself this space and time. You ask this question and try to be more specific. As in, like, who was I before coming here on Earth? You're gonna get so much. So it's not gonna be the best way. But, like, let's say last time I was super loving before coming here on Earth. And you just focus on that beingness and how good it felt. And what you get is this, just this loving, let's say, I don't know, like, how to call it. It's not greater self, but it's just, like, literally energy. It's just energy throughout the multiverse that was giving this life to everyone else, that was giving this love and the feel good to everyone else. And you're not really touchable, it's just the beingness across the multiverse. And it just feels so good. And you're just showering in that, and you give it to others. And that's what you get. So whether you see it or not, it is the feeling, it is the knowledge, the thought answer you get, or let's say visuals. Like, we can perceive it in lots of ways, but the thing is, what I'm doing right now, these quick scans, these, like, remembering past lives, the visuals and everything else, every one of you can do it. It's not something super special, all of you can do it. It's just literally practicing. It's like a muscle. You give yourself time, you practice, you have a variety. Like, the way I say it, it's not the only way to do it. It's probably like, okay, it's 1 out of a billion ways to do it, at least. And you're just like, okay, you try this, you try that, and you just, experiment, see what works for you. But don't doubt yourself. Like, give yourself that space into, okay, I'm okay. Like, last soul family, like, last group of beings I was with before coming here on Earth. And you're gonna get the answer. And you can just, like, flow with what you get. And the thing is about soul families, for example, your name or your soul name or, like, races that you have been with. We have lived for so long that we literally have been with everyone. And what we recall and feel stronger connection with is the group we have spent more time with, the group we can relate to more as a beingness. For example, you might have been with reptilians for a few days, just to see how intelligent they are and how they think and see their technology. And, like, okay, that's nice, bye everyone. And you don't necessarily go into killing or abducting or being bad, but you just understand what it feels like being in a reptilian body. And then you go on into being with Lyrans, the cat-like feline beings, and like, you can teleport and you can help, and you like that better. And then you go with Pleiadians, and then you go with Mantis, and then you go with humans, and you have so many lives out there that once you're here and you try to recall who were you before coming here, you've been everything. But you will remember the experience that stood out the most. It's like being here on Earth, and throughout your whole life, you've had this wonderful experience. It was just like, let's say for me, I watched this documentary and I really liked the Sequoia Park. It was like, Sequoia Park, like, damn, like, I'm in Lithuania, it's 6,000 miles away from me, but I would love to be near the tree. And it happened. And I remember, like, being in the Sequoia forest and how nice it smells, the trees, and how it feels, the energy. I loved it so much that right now, if I focus on it and, like, positive experiences here on Earth, that would be one that would pop up, one out of the many. So if you were to focus on past lives, your soul family, and everything else, the ones that stood out the most because you could relate to it, because it made you feel good, because you liked it, will pop up. And it's one out of the many. So, give yourself freedom, explore. Every day you're gonna get more answers. They might be different, but you can look at one story of okay, maybe you were an engineer, maybe you were an energy worker, and you get a little bit of answer every day, and you can just focus on that beingness. Okay, a part of me with Pleiadians that was, working on energy worker or engineer or warrior, and you get little answers every day, and you try to focus and be more specific. As in, be more specific. So, you're not gonna go into new subjects. Maybe you just want to focusing on the part of you that was helping out others, and you're okay, this beingness of me, that's really good at communicating to others. What was it doing? What did it look like? And little by little, you get answers. You might get visuals, you might get thoughts, you might get this knowledge, you might get emotion, you might just have this idea and just go with that. And the more you focus on that specific experience, the more you ask the questions. So, for example, focus on, let's say being that engineer or fixing your plane, and, let's say fixing that plane. When did it happen? Oh, it happened when, I just had a drink. It happened 5,000 years ago. It happened when I just had a conversation with the captain, and there can be many incidents of how it happened and when it happened. And then you go into how long did the thing last? Oh, it was 20 minutes. It was a few seconds, I just used my consciousness and I manifested this thing, and it's really easy. And what you can experience out there once you get out of it, it can be so broad, limitless. And you just go with focusing on the details of that specific life. It's that specific, let's say you don't even go from the birth until the death. You just go until, let's say, okay, that part of you fixing the plane, just that part of you having a kiss with that girl, hugging that guy, finally meeting the love of your life, your twin flame, your soul flame, that being that you can so relate to, having the incident of, or let's say, cooking pancakes. Oh man, those pancakes I was cooking, they had these weird purple mushrooms, but they're so sweet, and oh man, it's just jam, and I love it. And you just focus on the detail, and you literally, how long did that specific part last? And the longer you can hold the image or a thought, the deeper you can go into that life. And again, you're being specific, not who I was in the past life, but then focusing on the details. And when you're in that life, you focus on a little detail at a time. Fixing that plane, eating that pancake. And what happened after I ate the pancake? Oh, look, this person came over. Oh, look, I just finished fixing the plane, and I got in and I started flying. And you go into that incident and just continue either looking forward or back, but it gives you more freedom of either forwarding the experience or sort of rewinding it and seeing what happened previously. But you can literally go rewind, and now you've got 5 days of experience, and then you go forward all the way until 7 days later you got the whole week of experience. And that gives you an idea of who you were in the past, what did you do, how did you feel out there, what happened, all this stuff. So there's a lot, but recalling our past lives, using this ability, everyone can do it.